The stabbing began here shortly after 10 o'clock last night outside the Globe nightclub in Tumon. According to the magistrate's complaint, Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Kwan writes that an individual later identified as Chad Ryan DeSoto used a knife and stabbed people. Next, according to that complaint, DeSoto got into his gray 2007 Toyota Yaris and sped down the sidewalk along San Vittoris Road towards the Outrigger Hotel, striking several people along the way and injuring them. Eventually, his car rammed into the ABC store beneath the Hard Rock Cafe in the shadow of the Outrigger Hotel. At that point, witnesses say DeSoto leapt out of his vehicle, armed with his knife, and began randomly stabbing people.
I saw a pile of bodies.
Robin Young arrived outside the ABC store just after the stabbing occurred and before police arrived.
There was Grandma, she was there, she had wounds. I checked her pulse first off. There was a doctor there, but I'm not blaming the doctor's fault because everyone was traumatized. I worked a 1.5-year rescue in California for CITO. I was there. First thing I did was go check for pulses.
Did you feel pulses on the
grandma? She was dead. The older lady, she was dead. I grabbed her hand and checked it. There was no pulse. There was nothing. I moved on to the next. I thought it was the mom. She had 2 deep incision marks from a knife that I actually looked for. I looked for the knife. The knife was bent. Like the guy, when he stabbed, all I saw was the knife that was bent to like a 90. I went and talked to the mom was incapacitated at the time. I went and applied pressure on her because she did have a pulse.
An 81-year-old Japanese woman, Kazuko Iuhara, was dead at the scene. 29-year-old Ri Sugiyama, another Japanese woman, died at GMH from her stab wounds. Some bystanders began attacking the suspects, says Young, but police arrived and eventually took DeSoto into custody.
I got there after the fact when the guy got tackled by
the police?
No, not police. It was all Guam people that worked in the establishment, and one of my friends, my friend Bong, was him up, like punching his face and kicking him in the face.
Guam Fire spokesman Lieutenant Ed Artero says that in all, 14 people were transported to GMH with injuries. The families and friends of the victims gathered outside the emergency room early this morning, waiting for word, as representatives from the Japanese consulate took names. 8 of the victims, including the 2 women who died, had been stabbed. The other 6 injured when they were struck by the car. At an early morning news conference, Governor Eddie Calvo was flanked by Police Chief Fred Bordallo and Guam Visitors Bureau Board Chairman Mark Baldiga.
I've never seen anything remotely close to this. As everyone of you know, this is just a very unusual circumstance, and particularly made more difficult for us because the Japanese have been coming here for so many decades, and we've all established a bit of a family relationship. Our Hafaday spirit and the local people welcoming the visitors warmly, and in both directions, I think. And so as a father, it's very tough to see the suffering, understand the suffering that the families must be going through.
This is an anomaly for Guam. I have mentioned this, and I've talked to a representative of the Japan consulate that we will put all the resources available for our administration to assist the families of the deceased and all those that have been injured because of this, again, this terrible act. It is an anomaly. This is an island known not for having high murder rate. This is probably coming close to the number of the total murders we had all of last year. But you have my assurance, and the public has our assurance, and our visitor industry has our insurance, that we will prosecute this individual to the fullest extent of the law.
DeSoto, in chains, his face bruised, was led into Judge Alberto Tolentino's courtroom this afternoon.
Sir, is your name Chad R. DeSoto?
Yes, it is, sir.
Mr. DeSoto, the reason that you are in front of the court was that a magistrate's complaint was filed against you. Do you have a copy of this complaint? Yes, I do, sir. People of Guam are charging you with 2 counts of aggravated murder as a first-degree felony.
The facts of this case demonstrate a heinous and extreme act of violence of a type which is rarely seen here on Guam. Based on the nature of the conduct and the number of victims, we believe that this defendant represents a danger to all citizens of Guam, and we're asking the court to hold him on $2 million cash bail.
The judge agreed with the recommendation and ordered DeSoto held on $2 million cash bail. The magistrate's complaint against DeSoto says that he told police that he intended to hurt as many people as he could, but it does not explain why. Kevin Carrigan, PNC News.